Hi everybody, welcome back to our Language Training Center video classroom, and today we will learn lesson 30. Alright, sağdaşlar yaxshimizlar. And bugungi darsimizda shu yangi o'quv inglizda ikkinchi qism 30-darsligimiz. Andaqda boshda bu shu oldingi qatimliq darslarga muhim mazmunlarni bir qatim takror qilib aytgandan keyin undan yangi darsga kelsak. Xo'sh, hamsa qarab baqirgan bo'lsak, bu yerda bir necha so'z berilgan. O'sha berilgan so'zni ostidagi muvofiq bo'sh o'rinlarga to'ldirib maqsanglar. Okay. Mesela oldingi darsimizga Rockall. Okay, Rockall is an island. What kind of island? Yani bakayındaki nima ekan island, orol. Bu orol bo'lgan ism shunami savollashlar. Ism bo'lgandan keyin oldinchi qo'l nima kelish kerak hamda bir ismni sifatlari. Sifat degandek mushlar kelish kerak. Hamda bu shariki sifatdan qaysi desanglar, masalan lonely. Lonely qanday qildi? Mos keldi. Demak, Rockall is a lonely island. Rockall bo'lsa bir nima? Yolg'iz orol. And book. What kind of book? Book. Masalan, kitob deganga, masalan, ilgari nima desanglar, masalan, qadimgi kitob, burungi kitob, shunami? Ancient. Okay, an ancient book. It means like an old book. Shunami? Pandas are animals. And the panda conduct animal. And the both sifatlardan biz nima nayt kamdan kam uchraydigan, oz tepiladigan deb o'rgangan. So it's rare animals. Pandas are rare animals. Okay. Look, next one is aspirin soon took. Okay, and aspirin uzaq qolmay qanday qildi? Unum berdi deymiz nima? Bu unum berdi degan jumlaning qaysidan kelganda? Effect. Okay. Soon took effect. Took effect. Okay, I want to get into of flats. Okay, flats. And we shall get flat again, a block of flats. Yes, Binala. He landed in a car park. And the car park, deserted. Okay, deserted car park. Demek ki taşlı ütilgen, işletilmegen, nima mashin to'xtash maydoniga qanaqa qilingan? Qo'ndi. Okay. One man climbed onto his car. Okay, roof of his car. Demek ki roof degan o'g'isi shu starpe degandek. Nima? Xo'sh, asli shu tuvandagi tanlashdan tanlab berganlar. Masalan, do you believe in them, on them. Okay, do you believe in God, right? In. Okay, next one is his illness. He can't go to work. Okay, his illness. He can't go to work. And the misharike because of bulash gerek bu yoki because bulash gerek bu. Okay, and the mishara nima because of. Shunami? Chunki hamda because of dan keyindan ism yoki ism xarakterli so'z keldi. Masalan, erkak nom tomingsi deymiz nima yoki mingsi. Mush because keldi. Endi because dan keyindan ko'rsanglar jumla. Agar biraqlan jumla kelsa because ni ishlasak bo'ldi. Endi shu ism yoki ism xarakterli so'z turkumlar kelsa because of ni ishlasak bo'ldi. All right, endi keyingi ko'rsanglar Sophie is one of girls in our class. One of a beautiful girl, the most beautiful girls. Okay, and one of the most beautiful girls in our class. Güzel chiroyli qizlarning ichida birisi. Demak, endi bunday jumla ishlatganda nima desanglar, one of deganni ishlatganda keyingisi nima desanglar, birga ismning ko'plik shakli keldi, ya'ni birga o'sha sifatlarniki hamda eng yuqori darajasini yozdigan gap. Masalan, he worked hard, he failed. Demak hamda o tirishdi, lekin qanday qildi? Mag'lub bo'ldi. Hamda bu nima? However. Endi nima uchun botni tanlamadik deganda, hamda yana ikki tal pesh turdi, shunami? Agar hamda mana o'rinda ma botning keyinda agar pesh bo'lmagan bo'lsa, botni tanlasak qanday desang, xato emasdi. Lekin hamda meyari nima desang, pesh, tal pesh bo'lmuş. Peshga asosan qanday? However tanlaymiz. Okay, next one is Diana for more than 10 years. Okay, Diana what? Has died, has been, yoki have died, yoki died for more than 10 years. Endi bundan qaysini tanlaymiz? Sana have, okay, qaysi? Have been more than 10 years. Okay, has been more than 10 years. Demekçi açtı hani tugab ketgan yoki nima bo'lgani qanday aytsanglar has, okay, more than 10 years. Okay, this is the most interesting book. Okay, this is the most interesting book I have ever read. Which one? Nima? That I have ever read. That I have ever read. Endi yana bir bu jumlaniki bir qoidasini so'zlaganda bo'ladi. Misali, masalan, this is the most interesting book, shunami? Demak, eng qisqaroq, demak, superlarning eng yuqori darajasiga kelsa, faqat hamda o'sha aniqlovchi jumlaniki that lam kela oladi, deb shunami? Shu qoidamizga asosan biz bu yerni that ni tanladik. Xo'sh, endi keyingisi nima? The camera I bought is the same as doors. Okay, demak, camera nimda tanlashimiz kerak bu shaga? Okay, none yaxshi. Endi mishari shu olmash shanshin deymiz, shunami? Shular almashlarda to'liq javob kelganda shariki masalan which to'liq javob kelganda qanday qilib aytishga bo'ladi? Qisqartib aytishga bo'ladi. So can you complete this sentence? And some jumlani to'ldirib beringlar. Masalan, I 50 years. Okay. Men 50 yil burun Beijingga kelgan. Bu nima deymiz? I came to Beijing 50 years ago. Bu addilam o'tgan zaman shundami? Endi keyin qarasam masalan I for 50 years. Okay. Men Beijing tug'ini 50 yil bo'ldi. Okay, endi bu nima deysanlar? I have lived in Beijing for 50 years. Demakchi textcha qanday deysanlar, bu odam cho'qim Beijingda. Men Beijingga kelgan 50 yil bo'ldi degandek. All right, amsa tekrar müşahede olsun. Yeni dersimiz gelsin. Lesson 30. Football or polo. Futbol mu ya ki polo mu? Polo dediğimiz değil mi? Polo dediğimiz ama su topu ama su oynayan tane polo dediğimiz. Hoş. Most children like games. How many ball games do you know? Mış köpünce ballam da mış önüme futbolga mırak. Hamsa mış topga mırakçı. Top bilan oynaydigan. Sizlar qancha shu top bilan birga keladigan o'yinlarni bilasizlar? Masalan, what is this? This is tennis, right? Bu tennis top deymiz, shunami? Wangchu deb qo'yiladi. What about this? This American football. Okay. Ma'lum zaytun top deb qo'ymizku. Amerika futboli ham bu intayin popular in America. Intayin olqishga erishgan Amerikada. Futboldan bekar ekan qanday san olqishga erishgan. What about billiards? Billiard deb qo'ymizku, billiards. Shunami bu top. Macha baseball. Okay. Baseball. Kaltak top shunami? What about this? Basketball. Bu basketbol bilsa Amerikaning davlat top shunami? What about volleyball? Volleyball undan statishunami? Macha football. Soccer deb qo'yamiz yoki. Demak, endi shu bolalar yoqtiradigan to'plardan masalan tennis, American football, billiards, baseball, basketball, volleyball, football. Okay, demak, shular intayin qanday desanlar, olqishga kirishgan to'plar. Xo'sh, hamsa yangi so'zliklarni bir o'rganib chiqaylik. Okay, endi bu nima ish qo'yibdi bolalar? Bu bol qanday qo'ydik? Kick qo'yibdi, shunami? Kick. All right, first one is kick. Kick. Like to hit someone or something with your foot. Masalan, putonla bilan birisini tepsanlar yo o'sanglar deysizlar, hit deymiz, hit. One of the boys kicked a ball very hard and it struck the man in a boat. Okay, endi bu bolalarning ichiga bo'lsa, to'pni shuncha kuchab tepdiki, it struck the man in the boat. Demakchi, shu qiyiqdi kadamni. Okay. Sorry. Ash qiyiqdiki adamni qanday qildi bolalar? Suv quyibdi, shunami? Struck, so'qmoq, urib o'tmak degan gap. Demek endi bu yerga kick deganimiz nima desanglar? Tepmek, futbolni tepmek. All right, next one is a row. Okay, row. A row means like, to make a boat move across the water. The man is rowing. Row deymiz. Mesela my brother is rowing. Okay, meaning akam qanday qilyapti? Qayqayapti. Demakchi palaq uryapti, mengayapti degan gap. My brother is rowing. Okay, next one. What is this? Turtle is running towards the rabbit. Okay, look at the turtle. Turtle deganimiz nima? Tashbaqa. Tashbaqa nimaga qarab qanday qilyapti? Toshqan qarab nima qilyapti? And the towards deganimiz nima desanglar? Toward demakchi shu udullam shundan qarab. Mesela in the direction of closer to someone or something. And the matter go to bilan go towards deganlar desanglar paqqa bo'ladi. Mesela olaylik qanda. Mesela go to 8 bilan go towards 8 go towards 8 Mesela go to 8 degan 8 bormoq. Boshqaningki shahar markazi qo'y 8 maydoni. Endi shu yoqqa bir dersanglar, shu masalan Nanjansini aylanib borsanglar bo'ldi va yoki bo'lmasa endi Qashqarni ikkinchi aylanma hamma yana bir aylanib yutib borsanglar qanday dersanglar, shu go to 8 bo'lar. Chiqib 8 bilan berishni ko'rsatadi. Endi men go towards deganimiz nima dersanglar, tuptuz masalan mushadim mangan bo'lsam, zada shu oldimda 20 qavatli bino bo'lsa, binoning ustiga chiqib mashina olsa mashinaga dastlab o'sha do'nalikqa furcha qapandirinki shunda bir belgilab olib yo'lnishni shunda menib ketgan vaqo shuning o'xshash menga so'z nima towards bo'lar towards deganimiz hamda udul menish masalan go towards it degan shu udul tuziq bo'yicha qanday desanglar menish masalan Tom is walking towards the door. And the Tom shik tarafga udul qanday qilyapti? Mengyapti. The Tom is walking towards the door. Towards the door. Okay, and the next one is sight. Okay, sight. Xo'sh, endi sight deganimiz nima desanglar? Bu shu ko'rish doirasi. Ko'rish doirasi. Demak, endi bu ko'z bilan ko'rgani bo'lgan doiraning hammani nima deymiz? Sight deymiz. Insight. Endi bari insight bo'lsa nima desanglar? Ko'ra olish. Mesela he's inside. O mening ko'rish doiramda demakchi men uni ko'ra oldim demakchi. Okay. Ama out of sight posture desanglar, ko'ranmaslik. Demak sight degani any place that you can see from where you are. Demakchi siz shu oldingizdan ko'ra oladigan doiraning ichining hammasining bo'ldi sight bo'ldi. Mesela he's inside, he's in my sight degandek. Mana out of sight bo'lsa nima desanglar, ko'ranmaslik. Demakchi ko'rish doirasining sirtida. Okay. Mesela many beautiful flowers are inside. Nurg'un güzel güller mening ko'rish doiram ichida. Demak, men nurg'un güzel gullarni ko'ra olaman. Okay. Ondan kelganda yana bir jumla ham, ya'ni out of sight, out of mind. Okay, out of sight degan ko'rinmasa, demakchi ko'zdan yiroq. Out of mind, mingdan yiroq. Demakchi hamda biz ko'ngil deymiz shunami? Bular menga deydi. Shunga masalan never mind. Ko'nglim gammayma. Demakchi biz ko'nglimiz gammaymiz. Ular mingam gammayma deydi-ku. Demak out of sight, out of mind demakchi ko'zdan yiroq, ko'ngildan yiroq. Bu inglizchadan bor gap. Out of sight, out of mind. Out of sight, out of mind, out of mind, sorry. Okay, next one is nearly. Nearly. Okay, I'm the misharika. Nearly, it means almost or not completely. Ashu asasan digdik degan gap. Asasan digdik. And for example, the old man is nearly 80 years old. Okay. Endi misharika yashangan kishi shu taxminan yoki asosan 80 ga kiray deb qoldi. Demakchi az qoldi. 79 yosh, 79.9 yosh degandek. The nearly deganimiz asosan, tushunami? The old man is nearly 80 years old. Nearly. Okay. They've eaten nearly everything before we arrive. They've eaten nearly everything. Ular asosan hamma narsani degdek yeb bo'libdi before we arrive. Biz beriştim burun. Yoki desanglar, they've eaten nearly everything before I arrive. Men yetib berishdim burun asosan ular hammasini yeb bo'ldi. Ko'pincha choyga baqsanglar asosan shuna bo'ldi, endi kechikib qolsam. Yoki to'yga nima desanglar, they've eaten nearly everything asosan hamma degan. Shu asosan nearly shunami? Okay. Okay, well. Okay, where bir nima desanglar, bir daryoning ismi. Okay, and the cut deganimiz shu. Kesib o'tmak. Masalan, the well is a small river that cuts across the park near my home. Okay, endi mening uyimga yaqin bir bog'chani endi kesib o'tgan bir kichik daryo. Masalan, tuman is a small river. Okay, and small namasa is a big river that cuts across the Kashgar. Qashqarni kesib o'tadigan qanday bir cho'ng daryo. Tuman daryosi shunami? Shundan shariki cut deganimiz endi shu kesmak. Cut. Aman cut a class bo'lsa, o'g'lashlar, cut a class. Nima? Daryo. Demakchi darsni kesmak. Bu nima desanglar? Shu qonqa qilmoq bo'ldi. Xo'sh, hamsa, ma so'zliklarni bir o'ynab boqaylik. Mana nima? Kick, shunami? Nima? Row, well, towards, nearly, polo, cut, sight, towards. Anda, qaranglar. Masalan, shu deyma, shu row, well, towards, polo, sight, nearly, cut, kick, towards. Xo'sh. Bir o'ylaylik. Kick, cut, towards, polo, towards, row, well, nearly, sight. Okay, nearly, sight. Aytaqchi, andaqda biz bugungi darsimizdan tekst qaraylik. Listen and answer. So, what were some children doing? So, listen carefully. Sağdaşlarına aytdi, diqqat qilib turib shu tekstni olsanglar.
Lesson 30. Football or polo? First listen and then answer the question. What happened to the man in the boat? The Whale is a small river that cuts across the park near my home. I like sitting by the Whale on fine afternoons. It was warm last Sunday, so I went and sat on the river bank as usual. Some children were playing games on the bank, and there were some people rowing on the river. Suddenly, one of the children kicked a ball very hard, and it went towards a passing boat. Some people on the bank called out to the man in the boat, but he did not hear them. The ball struck him so hard that he nearly fell into the water. I turned to look at the children, but there weren't any in sight. They had all run away. The man laughed when he realized what had happened. He called out to the children and threw the ball back to the bank.
Okay. Endi sağdaşlar, bu dersligimizdeki tekst qismiga bir qaranglar. Albatta, buningda bir necha bir yangi savol bor. Hamda shu savolni javob berishdan burun sizlar bu tekstni bir ko'ngil qo'yib bir anglab olsangiz. All right, listen carefully. Okay. Anda sağdaşlar, hamma savolga qarab beringlar. Birinchi savol nima ekan desanglar, what were some children doing? Okay. What were some children doing? Amsa, shu ba'zi bolalar nima ish qilyapti? Nima ish qilyapti bolalar? What were some children doing at that time? Yeah, they were playing games. Ular qanday qilyapti? O'ynayapti. Or you can say they were playing football. Ular nima o'ynayapti? Futbol o'ynayapti. Futbol o'ynayapti. Okay, number 2. So why did the man in the boat nearly fell into the water? Okay, why? Can you tell me the reason? And then nimish shu qayiqdagi odam Mushu nimaga suvga tushib ketaylam deb qoldi. Why? Can you tell me the reason? Why is that? Maybe like because the ball struck him so hard. Chunki to'p u odamni qanday qildi desangiz, intayin kuchlik holda so'qib o'tdi, shunami? So'qqa chiqardi desangiz, the man, nearly fell into the water. Okay, and read and put the sentence in the right order. Okay, and my grandiki ma o jumlani bir o'qib savollashtirmoqni. Bo'lsa, o'ziniki muvofiq o'rniga bir to'ldirib qo'ysanglar. Okay, masalan, qaysi birinchisi, qaysi ikkinchi degandek, masalan, bir o'qib chiqsak nima? Suddenly one of the children kicked a ball very hard and it struck a man in a boat. Okay, I went and sat on the riverbank last Sunday. Some children were playing games on a bank, and there were some people rowing on the river. The man laughed, called out of the children, and threw the ball back to the bank. The children had all run away. He nearly fell into the water. Okay. And then I went and sat on the riverbank last Sunday. Okay, and then what about next? Next, some children were playing games on the bank. And there were some people rowing on the river. And okay, what about number 3? Suddenly one of the children kicked the ball very hard and it struck a man in a boat. And then struck and he nearly fell into the water. So children had all run away. And the man laughed, called out the children, and threw the ball back to the bank. And the show. Demek anda mushu bizning tekstimizniki bir tartibi. Xo'sh, hamsa bir tekstimizni bir tafsiliy bir ko'rib chiqaylik savoldoshlar. Masalan, what happened to the man in the boat? Nima bo'ldi? The ball struck him, right? And bu ayol qarasaq nima desanlar? Masalan, well is a small river that cuts across the park near my home. Okay. And the well bo'lsa bir kichik daryo. And my dad came that cuts across the park near my home. Demek ki mening uyimga yaqin bir bog'chani kesib o'tirgan. Demek endi well bo'lsa, bu shu mening uyimga yaqin bo'lgan bir bog'chani kesib o'tirgan daryo. Masalan, Tuman is a small river that cuts across the Kashgar city. Masalan, Tuman daryosi bo'lsa, Qashqarni bir kesib o'tirgan bir kichik daryo. Albatta, Tuman bu intayin dangliq bir kichik daryo emas, hisobda bir medium size desak bo'ldi. Demakchi o'ttirib tipga degan gap. Demak, mana jumla intayin muhim bo'ladi. Biz bir namdagi language focusda bu tafsiliy to'xtalamiz. Shu cuts across degan nima park degandek. Xo'sh. It was warm last Sunday, so I went and sat on the riverbank as usual. Okay, and o'tgan yakshanba kuni intayin illiq issiq bo'lgan edi. Shunlash I went, men bordim, and sat on the riverbank as usual. Shu odat kerak. Demakchi hamda burun bor ekan, bu vaqtdir. Odat kerak hamda shu daryo bo'yida o'ltirdim. Sat on the riverbank. Some children were playing games on the bank, and there were some people rowing on the river. And the baz balla bir necha balla hamda daryo bo'yida qanday o'ynayotgandi. And there were some people rowing on the river. And qo'lga qiynayotgan, demakchi paloqni qilayotgan bir necha kishilar daryoda bor edi. Okay. Suddenly one of the children kicked the ball very hard. Tuyuqsiz bir bola ashlanishlik birisi to'pni shundoq bir kuchab tepdiki, it went towards bېсиڭ. Udullamzadi. Shu o'tib ketib qolgan. Nimaga bordi? Qayiqqa bordi. There are some people on the bank called out the man in the boat, but he did not hear them. And mushu ba'zi bir necha kishilar hamda mushu qirg'oqdagi odamni chaqirdi, er kishini chaqirdi. Demakchi qayqayda otgan. Biroq qana qildi? Uni anglayolmadi. The ball struck him so hard that he nearly fell into the water. O top adamni shunchalik so'qiyotdiki, tas qoldi unaga daryoga tushib ketdilar. I turned to look at the children, but there weren't any in sight. Men burilib bolalarga qaragandim, lekin hech nima yo'q. Demakki hech kim qolmabdi. Demak ko'rinmaydi. They had all ran away. Ular hamma qochib ketgandi. The man laughed when he realized what had happened. Okay, bu odam nima ish bo'lganligini bir his qilgan vaqtida ana qilib kulib ketdi. Chunki bolalar bo'lgan ekan nima desanglar, kulib ketdi, ham urushmay. Then he called out to the children and threw the ball back to the bank. And bolalarni to'lab, and bu nimani to'pni qanday qildi? Bolalarga tashlab berdi. Okay. Demak, endi bu bo'lsa bizningki tekstimizning qisqagina mazmuni ekan bolalar. Aslan bir tekstning bir background, asas mazmuni bir tushunsin deb bizlar bir tarjimasini qilib berdik. Endi hozirgi muhim nuqta nima desanglar, misharga language focus. Endi bizningki haqiqiy intime muhim chiqadigan naq mushuni nima desanglar, language focus. Xo'sh, qaranglar. Misharga morning, afternoon, evening degan narsalar. Buning oldida zaten nima keladi degan gap. Masalan, I like sitting by the well fine afternoons. Endi buni nima keladi? On fine afternoons. Okay, and mushu odatda morning, afternoon, evening deganga nima keladi degandik desanglar, savollar biz odatda buningga in keladi degan shunami? Lekin endi miyarki morning, afternoon, evening deganimiz endi mushariki nimalarni ko'rsatadi desanglar, odatda mushu kunlarni, masalan, mushu havo yaxshi atdiganlari, shu atdigan shu bir kunning atdigan vaqti shunami? Demak, endi mushu vaqtlarni bildirganda nima desanglar, fine yoki on demakchi, havo uchiq tushdan keyinlari, havo tushdan burunlari degandekchi. Endi mushuni ko'rsatganda mushning oldiga on keladi. Chunki endi bu nima desanglar, asosan shu tushdan keyinliklari, shunda kunlarini ko'rsatadi emasmi yana? Demakchi, shu havo uchiq tushdan keyinlari yoki atdiganlari tushdiri deganda. Shunga ma'no keldi. Agarda endi masalan endiginimiz doir vaqtni bildirdi dedik emasmi? Bir endiga aniq emas, shunami? Masalan, tushdan burun in the morning, in the evening, in the afternoon. Okay, endi buni nima keldi desanglar, ma'no o'xshash the. Masalan, I played football in the afternoon. Men tushdan keyin to'p o'ynadim. Endi men yerga aniq article nima the keldi. Okay. Masalan, on Tuesday morning. Endi bu kunlar bilan atdiga mush vaqt birlikda kelgan vaqtda yana o'xshashlar nima keldi? On keladi. Chunki shu kunni ko'rsatadi emasmi? Masalan, on fine afternoon demasanglar, naytdi havo uchiq tushdan keyinlari. Demak, shu havo uchiq tushdan keyin kunlar deganni ko'rsatadi. Garchi tushdan burun bo'lsa ham kunni ko'rsatadi, cho'miyadi. Shu ma'no on keladi. Agar endi ma afternoonning oldiga article the kelgan bo'lsa, bu vaqtda nima desam, in the afternoon, in the morning, in the evening deymiz. On fine afternoons, on Tuesday morning degandek. All right. But there were some people, okay, on the river. Okay, there were some people. Nima rowing. And the nimichim yaga rowing keladi desanglar, mishada rowing on the river deb mushu shanda fence shunami? Shanda fence odatda dongming so'q keldi bu yerda. Bu nim bo'ldi desanglar, aniqlikchi bo'ldi. Demakchi, qanday kishilar esa shu paloqni qilayotgan. Odatda asl shakli nima desanglar, masalan, there were some people who were rowing. Shunami? Endi men yerga who were ama BP'ni qisqartib biroqlama shundan fansalatda aniqlovchi bo'lib keldi. Bu oldingi darslarimizda bir qatam bir so'zlangan. Bo'lsa shu oldimizdagi darslarni bir takrorlab etsam, nayt aniq bo'ladi. Buning to'g'risida nayt aniq bir to'xtaldik. Masalan, there is a little girl Okay, hamda ko'chada sarangi sotayotgan degani nima? Selling matches on the street. There is a little girl who is selling matches on the street. And the who is selling matches. There is a little girl selling matches on the street. And the match, okay, the man, okay, the costume the man wearing a black suit is our boss. And the costume But some people on the bank to the man in the boat. Some people on the bank called out to the man in the boat. Okay. And we called out the night. Oh, that man called out. Called out. And he fell over and called out in pain. Called out. And then we should call up somebody. Hey, I will call you up. Call you up. Call you up later. And they call on most. Okay, call on somebody. I will call you on tomorrow. And the call at boss. So at the kichik orlar keltemesmi? Şu ma'lum bir o'yinlarni ziyorat qilish, yo'qlash bo'lsa call at. Masalan, call at the museum, call at the park degandek. What about call off? Okay, call off deganimiz bekor qilish. For example, call off the meeting. Yig'inni bekor qilish, tushab qo'ymak. Demak, call up, call on, call it, call off. Degan mushlar o'qasa nima deysanglar? Har xil ma'nolarga. To'rtinchi, the ball struck so hard that he nearly fell into the water. Okay, nima u to'p shundasi quvvatdagi u tas qoldi qanday qilib ketgani? So'g'ish qilib tushgan. Demak, and so adjective or adverb that and the mandabuligi deb tushunami? Bu nima desanlar? Shu shunchaki manda qatta manda degan gap. Hamda ma bir jumla qaranglar. U shunchalik hayajonlanib ketdiki, u gap qilmay qoldi. Bu nima deymiz? Okay. He was so excited that he couldn't say anything. Okay. He was so excited that he couldn't say anything. Okay. And Liu Shang bo'lsa, vahshiy yuguraydiki, hech kim uni yetishmaydi. Ammo shunday deymiz. Liu Shang runs so fast that nobody can keep up with him. And keep up yoki catch up bo'lsa nima deysanglar? Shu yetishalish, ulguralish deymiz. Okay. And demakki yana birga such that birga bas such. And nima suchning keyindan balla sim keladi. Sifat simlar keladi. Lekin so'ning keyindan hamda shu sifat bilan ravish keladi-ku. Masalan, buningga eng oddiy bir misol nima deysanglar? Okay, masalan, he is so smart that he can pass all the exams. O shunchalik aqlliqki va hamma imtihonda o'tadi. Okay. And now so shunami? And the such, S-U-C-H. Masalan, he is such a smart boy that smart boy ism keldi. U shunchalik aqlliq baliki, he can pass all the exams. U hamma imtihonda o'tadi. Begandek. Demak, endi bu yerda shu sashning keyindan imtihonlar chiqib Qasa bilisizlar bo'ldi. Saçning keyindan nima deysanglar? Shu ne kelgan gap. Xo'sh, endi retail qilib baqinglar. Bu retail qismini qanday qilamiz desanglar, men sizlarga shu ochiq-ochiq so'zlarni deb beray. Sizlar bu ekranga agishib, qanday qilsanglar, deb bersanglar. Masalan, for example, well is a small river that cuts across the park near my home. You know, I like fine afternoons. I like sitting on fine afternoons. Sitting by the well on fine afternoon. You know, it was blah blah blah blah blah blah blah last Sunday. So I went and sat on the riverbank as usual. Okay, some children were playing on the weir, and there were blah blah blah blah blah blah blah rowing on the blah blah blah blah blah. Suddenly, boy kicked the balls very hard, and it went. The name is towards from the two them though, passing, and some people and called out to the man in the boat, but he did not. And all that. The struck so hard that he nearly fell into the water. I turned to look at the children more, but there weren't any in sight. He laughed when he realized what blah blah blah blah blah, and he called out to blah blah blah blah blah and threw back blah blah blah blah blah. Degan answer. Mushdan qasasan deb baqinglar. Kingcha. Degandek. Xo'sh, hamsa bugungi grammatika muhim nuqtalarga qarab baqaylik. Bugungi eng muhim narsa son bilan ani. Bu son bilan anini eng muhim ingliz tilida birdan tak so'zlar aytamiz. Bu intayin zarur. Shunga bugunmi yana bir qatam qana qilamiz, takrar qilamiz. Qaranglar, there are some monsters in the room. Okay. Shu uyda bir necha g'alit maxluqlar, monster. Are there any monster in the room? Okay, I'm the swell boss. I'm the g'alit maxluqlar. Uyda bormi? I don't have any apples. It's olmalar yo'q. If you have any questions, you can ask me. Agar savolingiz bo'lsa, mendan so'rasangiz bo'ladi. Demak, endi o'sha son bilan ani o'xshashlar nima desangiz, ozroq biza bir qanchalarga ma'nolarga. Endi bu ikkisini nima desangiz, farqi bor. Birinchisi som qanday qildi desangiz, cho'qim qanday jumlalar keldi. Bosh bo'lishliq jumlalar keldi. Lekin ani desangiz, yebenchi odatda savol jumlalar keldi. Undan sirt yanni desangiz, foreign jumlalar keldi. Inkor jumlalar. İnkar cümleleri. Ona dikkat yani görürsenler, muş F bilen başlanılan tevcenci var o. Hem de şundan dikkat. Demek ki sam boluşluk cümlede, yani sual cümle ve inkar cümlede, yani görürsenler yani muş o F bilen başlanılan tevcenci dikkat. Okay, kendinci yani even foreign. Şuna mı? Hoş geldiniz soldur bakınlar. Okay. And would you like to have some coffee? Ya ki some beer? So can you lend me some money? Why not have some juice? Okay, and the ma'afallar qanday qildirsanlar, masalan, o'shaning o'xshash ushlari bildirgan o'zininki o'tinishni, uningdan ma'lum bir narsani so'rashni yoki taklifni bildirgan jumlalarda sam savol jumla bo'lsin qanday desanlar, kelaverdi. Masalan, o'shaning o'xshash hamda yevenji bilan bu foreign bilan bu sam qanday desanlar kelaverdi. Sharti nima desanlar, masalan, o'shaningda so'roq jumla. Ba'zilarini o'tinish ma'nosidagi, ba'zi taklif, fikr, mushjatki bo'lsa, sam qanday desanlar kelaverdi. Masalan, I believe that my dream come true someday. Men ishonamanki, mening bu g'oyam hamon bir kun amalga oshadi. Give me a pen and any pen will do. Manga bir qalam bering. Qanday qalam bo'lsa bo'ladi. Demak, endi mushu some mushu ko'rishimiz tanishum bo'ladi. Demakchi, someday, demakchi hamon bir kuni, demakchi shu hamon ma'lum bir kuni demakchi. Ma'lum bir kuni. Endi anyning yana bir ma'nosini bersanlar, mushu ko'rishimizni oldiga kelib nima bersanlar, any pen demakchi xohlagan birisi degan ma'noni bildiradi. Demek endi biz yeni okum İngilizce birinci kısımda ve aldığımız mezmunlarda hem sam bilen enining bo'lishlik cümle ve inkar cümlelerki sual cümleleri kilisinden öğrengen. Lekin ma ikki xil altını qanday desanlar, bugun öğrendim. Demek endi mishalki sam degan aman bir kuni demekçi, ma'lum bir kuni eni qonga ma'lum bir kuni demekçi hamda. Amerika ani degan joy desanlar, xalqan birsi. Masalan, any pen will do. Qanday qalam bo'lsa, qanday xalqan birsi bo'lsa bo'ladi degan. Okay. Xo'sh, qarab boqaylik. Masalan, ma jumlaga qaranglar. Masalan, she's playing basketball with boys. And bir necha. Buning albatta emas sam. Sam degan bir necha o'g'il bolalar bilan to'p o'ynaydi. Basketbol o'ynaydi, shunami? Okay, masalan, she's playing basketball with bir degan necha? Mishalima some boy. Okay. Demak, endi mishalki some deganimiz nima desanlar? Bir o'g'il bolani ayt. Yana qo'ymagani cho'qim emas, shunami? Masalan, he's playing basketball with some boy. Bir suvlar qanaqadi, to'p o'ynaydi. Ama some boys bir necha bolalar bilan deganda ekan. Hamda yana birisi aniniga qarab boqaylik. Masalan, would you like black coffee? Yani some black coffee. And demakchi menda so'roq. Masalan, xil təklif ma'nodagi hamda would you like some black coffee? And you can find this word in English dictionary. Demak, endi men xalqan bir bo'lsa any English dictionary. Demakchi, siz bu xatni xalqan bir ingliz lug'atdan qana qila olasiz, topa olasiz. Good job. Uni lekin endi shu aniqsiz article a bilan n ningki ishlatilishi. Okay. A bilan n ningki ishlatilishi. Masalan, shu a bilan n ning ishlatilishi, masalan, har xil shu asosliqi so'zuq tovush bilan boshlangan, uzuk tovush bilan boshlangan so'zlar dedik, shunami? Masalan, shuni tartibsiz bo'lsak, masalan, a bilan kelganda bog'lam, masalan, a man, shunami? A man, a university, a nurse, a doc degandek. Okay. Masalan, ma n gichu. Okay. Ma n gichu desam, masalan, an ice cream, an island, an umbrella, an actor. And the Japan mesela university bo'lsa desanglar, lekin endi bu university degan garchi so'zuq tovush harfi bilan boshlangan bilan, lekin bu uzuk tovush bilan boshlangan. Y harfi bilan boshlangan. Y tovush bilan. Yetdagi tovush degan uzuk tovush emasmi? Shunga a university, an university olmaydimi? A university, a nurse, a doc degandek. Endi makenik mesela actor, umbrella, island, ice cream. Demek ki ma tavuş qaraymiz, harf qaramaymiz. Mesela NR. Okay, ma hour deganimiz H O U R, shunami saat, bir saat, an hour. Lekin endi ma'noda buni an hour deb o'qimaymiz-ku. Endi ma o H degan bilan boshlanmagan chiqqan nima sanlar, uni an hour deymiz, shunga o'xshash. Demak, endi bu shuni ishlatishga alohida diqqat qilib qo'ysanlar. Okay. Endi mesela dönen işlatılışı. Okay, dönen işlatılışı. Mesela bunun da the second story. Bu köpüncüsü mesela isimlerini aldı, süpet gibi kalsa. Mesela süpet, mesela secondary koş ikinci. Muşunla aldı yani döküldü. Onun da kendine süpetlerin en yukarı derecesinden aldığım nime döküldü. Mesela the largest firm. Mesela the beautiful city, the most beautiful demek. And then mesela on ve sol taraf, şularını mesela on the left, on the right, onun dikene de her xil taraflarını bildirir. Mesela on the north, yak in the north, in the east. Mesela aldaki the degenimiz şu devletinin degeni mesela. Şu devletinin mesela in the north. Mesela Kashgar is in the west. Demek ki Cumhur'unki garbi degeni. O in the west, doğru ha, in the west. Okay. And then şu bir aile kişiler kelgende mani mersanlar döne keldi. Mesela the Greens, Green Isles kile. The Obamalar, the Sawyer'lar degende. Ona dikende mersanlar play the piano. Okay. And then mesela xil çalgılarning keldilar. Şu bir aniqlashtirish uchun play the piano. Onun sırtında mesela, şu ötmüşteki vaxtlarını mesela in the 1990s, mançın yıllar, Onundaki bir grup adamlar to'planıcı. The poor mushlarım nima keldi desanlar, the keladi. Demak hamda sizlar bir narsani ikkinchi qatam tilga olganda o'xshashlarni kelishunami? Masalan, tunugan men kechda ketib qolgandim, yo'lda bir tal ishni uchratdim. A dog, shunami? Yo, eliq shit was yaman yo'g'an ekan. Eliq shit the dog, eliqi the, shunami? The dog is. Demak, eliq shit. Demak, hamda sharga the second story, the largest firm. Demak, mushlarning hammasiga o'sha narsani bo'lsa qanday qilamiz desanlar? Cho'qim mashqatdagi yezilish kerakda konspektga. Onun istek mesela bu şu devlet namlarga devletler uzun mesela the People's Republic of China, Cumhuriyet Halk Cumhuriyeti şunama, the People's Republic of China. Okay, and mesela the United States, Amerika şunama, the Thomas, okay, Thomas and the onundan sırtında birden boğan bazı deryasınlar işlemi, Thomas deryası. Mesela the Atlantic Ocean, onundan sırtçı, in the West, taraflarga. Demek ki de yana qanday desanlar, muşunun o'xshash, mush odatdagi ismlardan tuzilgan. Mesela şu people deymiz, republic deymiz, muşunun tuzilgan davlat ismlariga-chi. Devletning ismlariga yana da keldi. Mesela the United States, Birleşken Devletler. Demek ki odatdagi ismlar bormi? Mas xas ism emas. Faqat shu odatdagi ismlardan tuzilgan bir guruh ismlarni oldim. Nima desam, the keladi. The keladi. Undan keyin andin muşunga o'xshash okean, daryo, tog' tizimlari, ma'lum bir apparatlarni, shirkatlarni bo'lganda men nima desam, oldiga shu article the keladi. Onun sırt yana mesela şu çüştüm burun degan mesela in the morning, in the middle, in the end, by the way, oh yeah, şunama, okay, I look the same degan bu şunun o'xshash nimalarga qanday bilsanglar, yana o'xshashlar nima? The keladi. Okay. Demakchi ham shu intayin ko'p shildirgan biz odat qilinib ketgan mashina o'sha nimaga qanday desanlar, the kelgan. Xo'sh, hamsa bir practice qilib baqaylar bolalar. O'shanda a and the some any ishlatamiz. Okay, and the well is a small river. And the ma'nosi the well. And the nima desanlar, bu shu maxsus daryo ismlariga qanday desanlar, the well. Demakchi well daryosi is a small river that cuts across the park near my home. Yet I like sitting by the well on the fine afternoon. It was warm last Sunday, so I went and sat the riverbank, as usual. And some children were playing games on the bank. And there were some people rowing on the river. Suddenly, some of the children kicked a ball very hard and it went towards a passing boat. And some people on the bank called out the man in the boat, but he did not hear them. And the ball struck him so hard that he nearly fell in. He called out to the children, they threw the ball back to the bank. And then for example, here is a book with pictures in it. And some pictures in it. Have you got brown shirts? Any brown shirts? No, but we've got some blue ones. You may come at anytime. Okay, so Mary is older than the other girls in her class. Any of the other girls. So would you like some coffee? A and the. I bought a coat yesterday. I'm wearing the coats now. Men tunigun bir palto sotib oldim, hamda men yillik paltoni, demakcha tuniga sotib olgan paltoni qanday qilyapman, kiyiyotiman. Okay. All right. Masalan, Jai Ji-gong, a Chinese astronaut, completed the first Chinese spacewalk on the moon on September 27, 2008. Demek ki Jai Ji-gong müşareke bir planetlarning olduğunu keldi. The moon demek ki birden bir emas mı bu kainatta? The moon, the earth degan ekan. Üçüncüsü, I like playing the piano and the musica soplananı piano. While he likes playing basketball. Jones, the Jones will come to the dinner with us tonight. Yani bir aile kişilerge demek keldi. Mesela the Jonas ailesi. Mesela Obama became the 56th president of the United States of America. 56-cı növbetlik demekçi 56-cı man dərsi kelgen demersen oldu. Endi yani dövletlinkə bir neçə addi isimlerin tüzülgen dövlet isimlerine de keltişinəmi. Good. Әмса бүгінгі тапшырық неме әргенде сөздікlerini 20 қытында 30 қытында көчіранла, çoğun tekisini yatlанла. Tekisini yatlаған hikmet var. Şimdi ben ki sizler bir kitabını yatlap tüketsenler, sizler 10 kitap öğrenkendiğini ayarlar. Qadna? Şuna bu şaşma yatlışanlarını ümit kılımız. Okay, that's all for today. See you next time. Goodbye.